So we have a plan to now mitigate these tariffs, and we may still go back into the US, or we may continue to sell and just postpone what we sell there. But right now, it is not a huge negative for us. It's actually given us a push to focus our energies on where we were already thinking about doing this. And
welcome to the Conquer podcast. This is episode 2 of season 2. So welcome. And today it is a very interesting time in the world right now.
Yes, it is.
If you're following the news, looking over at USA, very interesting time. And obviously this does affect basically every single business.
Chris, what's going on in USA?
Shame, I left my mega hat at home. So
Dude, don't get the podcast taken down.
yeah, so like Trump is he's throwing his dick around. He's come out and swinging, and he's 125% tariffs. As of today, it was on the news. It started at 54% tariffs. Now it's 125% tariffs. And there's deals being done with every other country but China.
Let's pull it back. What's
a tariff?
Yeah, what's a tariff, Eric?
So in 2020... No, wait, when did Trump get in last? It was 2016.
There's 4 years gaps.
So he got into 2016.
Maybe?
No, he got into 2016, and then in 2020 was the new election.
Yep.
And Biden got into 2024.
And now it's 25,
yeah. So in 2016, when Trump came into office, he basically wanted to tax China because he thought that basically China was taking advantage on USA, making a lot of money from the US market, the consumerism of USA. So USA has the strongest economy in the world, basically, in that the American people buy the most shit. Americans love buying shit.
Yeah, massive
And that's
consumers.
why people love selling in America, because Americans love buying shit. And the typical way that this is done is you buy the product for cheap in China, and then you send it to America and sell it with nice branding and the whole lot in America with quick shipping, whatever, right? That's how you sell on Amazon USA. Trump, on the other hand, didn't like that China was making so much money from this, and he basically wanted to implement a tax on China, which was at that time, it was like 20%. So all the goods that would come from China into America, whatever the cost is, say it's $10, you'd have to pay 20% extra tax, which would be $2 per unit in that case, right?
Yeah.
So there's 20% tax coming into America at that time. And I was selling on Amazon USA at that time, and that was a pain in the ass, but there were ways to get around it through talking with your freight forwarder. There's HS codes, which is these shipping codes, and you can kind of move your product into another code and stuff that didn't have the tax applied and stuff like that.
Can I just...
So that was the first taste of it. And what that actually is... A tariff is a tax.
Yes. So I just want to point out that when Eric's saying the tax, it means that it's not specifically that China has to pay that tax. It's anyone in the world who is getting their products from China, which we do, and wants to bring that product into USA to sell it in USA. When it crosses the border and lands on USA soil, you need to pay that tax or that tariff.
And I'll tell you why as well.
Yeah.
Because what that actually does is promote manufacturers to actually start making things in America. And it promotes people to actually start buying stuff from America and then selling it, which creates jobs in America.
And keeps the money in America.
Keeps the money in America and creates this knock-on effect. However, I actually watched a video on this yesterday, and there's more complexities to this, because although these American manufacturing companies are, let's say there's this glass and you want to sell this glass. If you'd buy it from China, then the whole glass would just come straight from China, right? They have all the raw materials, they make it in China, then they send it to...
And you get the tariff on the whole thing.
You get tariff on the whole thing. However, it's a little bit confusing because in America, even if they were to manufacture these glasses, they would need to buy the glass and the raw materials still from China.
Yeah.
And then basically they're just assembly plants in America, so that part's a little bit... because
they only get tariffed on the raw materials that way. So manufacturing it, so they actually don't get charged as much. If they just imported it, then they would get charged on the whole thing and all the process to make it. So it's a little bit less, but it's still complicated.
But they're still basically then still buying stuff from China, bringing it into America for cheaper, and then assembling stuff. So it's still China just has so much raw materials and manufacturing. So that's a little bit of a strange complexity that comes with that.
And just to clarify, even in 2017, there was other tariffs. It's not just China, but China got the biggest one. So even right now, everyone has a tariff.
Because China's the biggest importer.
Yeah, for example, like Australia, I think had free trade. Now even Australia has 10%. So it's not just, but now China's the one that's pushing back.
Yeah, so
America's pushing back
now
against China.
Run us through, Chris, what's happening right now. Because this news came out yesterday, and we sell in Amazon USA, and we actually did 1.2 million USD in last year's sales in just America, because we sell USA, Australia, Canada, Germany, then our Shopify website, right? We did $1.2 million in USA, and now we basically found out that anytime that we import goods into USA, what is it?
And before you go into it, as soon as Trump mentioned that, so we've got some products on the water right now, it's active immediately. Yeah. So you don't even have a chance to be like, oh fuck, maybe
it came in straight away.
I can do this or this or this. It'd be like, if your product is on the water, that it applies.
And people going bankrupt because of that.
And to add to that, I found out, I believe ours passed customs just before the tariff came in. So I think we got our last order in, which is great because some people will be stuck. So
but
fingers crossed.
Run us through what's actually happening. So Trump gets back into office. He straight away starts implementing these tariffs around and mainly on China.
Well, he did it to everyone. He basically came in, every country that imports into the US got tariffs. Vietnam had 90%, but basically it started off with...
90% Vietnam?
Yeah, Vietnam, but it's all been changed. So basically it came in, originally it was 54%. He went hard, however, on certain categories. Steel and aluminium had the highest things because they wanted to manufacture more steel and aluminium, or aluminum as they call it in America, in the US. Yeah. So basically those products went really hard. But yeah, all the countries got these new tariffs as the baseline, that everyone gets a baseline. And then on top of that, depending on how they've calculated, I don't know the exact calculations, but they basically then add this on top of your baseline. So China had 54%, and then China kicked off.
They retaliated.
And they put like 70% or 50% on a US.
They did 84%.
84%. And then US retaliated again and bumped it up to 100. Now it's now 124 or 125%. So and what also happened is because China and US are having a fight, Trump's actually delayed all these tariffs for all the other countries by 90 days.
There's a 90-day period where he's delayed all the other ones. And what that does is, and Trump came out and said, he's just like the countries that don't kick up a fuss and don't come back at us and don't retaliate get rewarded.
Yeah, they're going to negotiate.
He's really coming in like ballsy, all guns blazing. You have to also, art of the deal, right? Like Trump's a master.
He's a businessman.
He's a businessman. A lot of people, when they see him talk and stuff, like he has this reputation of some like goofy American. You have to understand how smart he actually is as a negotiator and the way that he gets things done. He's a next level businessman. He's a billionaire. And yes, like people say oh, he inherited money. He got $1 million, which is okay. That's obviously so much money, but he turned it into billions of dollars, went bankrupt and still made it all back. You can't discredit his credentials as a businessman.
And that's what this is all about. He's pulled out this big card, and then basically now he's got 90 days with these other countries. I'm sure China will come around and there'll be discussions as well. But he then gets to negotiate what's going to be best for their country. And I do believe that the US, and I've listened to some other videos as well, that this is more so waiting it out. It's not going to be like a 3-year thing. It's not going to be these tariffs aren't going to be 125% for 3 years, but there's going to be a period of feeling each other out and then making negotiations work. And then that's when we're going to maybe lock in. There's definitely going to be higher tariffs for sure, but I doubt there'll be 125 for the rest of his presidency. No, it's impossible.
I think he's just put that. He's just basically said, look, you're going to mess with us, we're going to mess with you back, and we're going to be bold about it. He's really just making a statement and showing the rest of the world.
They're throwing punch for punch right now.
Depending on when this podcast goes live, so today is the 11th of April. So this is the information as of that date, and it's like continuously changing. Even when we were watching, we're part of a mentorship group as well, and we're watching a training, like an emergency training on this, and even during the training, things were getting updated, and they were like, we've just heard this update, X, Y, and Z. So this is like constantly evolving. And what I think you may have mentioned it is like, we're in a position that we can wait it out, and we want to be making sure that we're responding to it and not reacting to it.
Totally. And that kind of like pivots nicely into like the question of like, what does this actually mean for e-commerce and Amazon sellers, specifically if you're selling in America?
Yeah. Well, and one thing we've been absolutely like yelling for the last few years is that like USA is a great market to make a lot of money, but it is one of the hardest markets.
Yeah,
and
I'll
know that.
I'll even jump on top of that and say USA is an amazing market to make a lot of revenue,
Yeah.
a lot of top line, but your profits are nowhere near like the other marketplaces because the energy that it takes, and the reason that the profits are lower is because you have to spend so much money on ads, spend so much money on fixing problems. Like USA is crazy if you get it right, but we've been discussing before this point, and this will kind of lead into what we're doing now, that is USA worth the energy? Because we make a lot of revenue, and to make a lot of revenue, you basically have to buy a lot of stock, right? To be able to supplement that demand. Exactly. But the profits are actually super low compared to all marketplaces comparatively, because you have to spend so much money on ads. You have to fix so many problems, reviews, whatever.
Returns.
Returns are crazy in USA as well. It's hyper competitive.
And because of the hyper competitiveness, that's why you have to spend more. You're on a knife's edge, because if you run out of stock, or if you don't spend enough on PPC, or if you miss a sale, it just throws where you'll rank. And ranking is so important on Amazon, where other marketplaces like Australia, Canada, we even sell in Europe now. These countries are way less saturated, way less competition. So you can be the big dog, where in the US, you are fighting with the big dogs.
And it's a dog fight out there. And we talk about it all the time, because every single Monday we have our internal meeting where basically I do like an internal analysis. I look over our P&Ls, I look over our marketplaces, everything. And then I bring it to you guys. And Chris, you usually have notes as well. And we discuss everything. And we've noticed a pattern that every single Monday we only have time, and this meeting goes for 90 minutes, to talk about USA and problems in the USA and fixing stuff that's going on in the USA, because we sell such high volume. And it kind of led us recently, we talked about this earlier in the year, to discuss whether it's even worth it selling in the USA anymore, because we have to spend so much money on stock, and then it's for smaller profit compared to other marketplaces, plus there's so much effort. And I think, we came to the conclusion, 2 days ago, that this is that final kind of shove that we needed to actually pull out of USA completely. Which feels like an amazing...
And where are we going to be focusing? And we've been talking about this. I think we talked about this a lot last season.
Feels like an amazing move to make, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's like instantly when as I said, we've been talking about it, but like that weight has been shifted, and now it's just like, well, actually, maybe this can be something that we enjoy again. Because it's like when problems are arising in America, and what I was going to say before, like even returns, is because how customers shop in USA, completely different to the rest of the world.
Totally.
They are very entitled and expect the world from you. So if you don't deliver, returns, people just buy stuff. Oh, I can return it. Amazon return allows me to return it. Doesn't even matter. So like if we have a month that's like skyrocketing in terms of sales, we know that the month after is going to be heaps of returns. That's just how Americans like to shop. They're used to it, and they love to leave a review, especially if they've got not very nice things to say. So
that's really the only time customers in USA leave reviews is when they're upset about something, rather than when they're thrilled about something.
And obviously, like our goal is to give a customer an exceptional experience, and we sell high quality products, but you can't please everyone.
And we do really well as well. Like I said, we did 1.2 million USD. That's almost 2 million Australian last year. But it's still just not worth it for the return.
We actually have been pivoting into other market and focusing more money into other marketplaces the last 6 months, 12 months anyway. So our revenue in our first year of Prodigy X was way more in USA than other marketplaces, and now it's definitely changed over the last 12 months.
And profits have, because what happens in USA is as well, there's price wars that we don't even talk about. All the Chinese suppliers end up selling in USA. They don't sell in any other marketplaces. And what they do is, because it's from the supplier themselves,
it's product life cycles basically.
Well, they can just sell it for so much cheaper than everyone else, because they manufacture it. If we get a product that we say have to buy an ice bath, let's say it's $50 from the supplier. Well, for them to make it's only going to cost them $10. So they can sell it at basically the price that we buy it for in America on Amazon. And that's what creates these price wars that brings the price down and squeezes profits as well.
So for us right now, like obviously this is a massive thing for Amazon sellers. However, we're not in a terrible position because of this. Like we have more SKUs. We have SKUs and ASINs. Like we have
thrilled.
So like an ASIN or a SKU is attached to your product. We have more ASINs and SKUs products in Australia and also in Canada than we do in the US at the moment. So we can just focus and move all that money we're spending in the US into, and this is another good thing about, and we always teach this about always looking for the next products. We have products that are ready to go. We have already got them ready to go. We just need to get them manufactured into Australia, into Canada. So we have a plan to now mitigate these tariffs, and we may still go back into the US, or we may continue to sell and just postpone what we sell there. But right now, it is not a huge negative for us. It's actually given us a push to focus our energies on where we were already thinking about doing this. And I know, Eric, you might want to speak about this, but we always think about selling the business, and we're like, okay, what are we going to do when we sell the business? We'll launch more products in Amazon Australia. Well, we've got a business that is currently successful. We have products ready to go, and now we're like, why don't we just keep doing it? So it's like throwing a few different spanners in the works with us selling the business as well, and where we're at. But yeah, I think it's exciting times, and I think we're all on board, and we were like aligned at the same time. We had the phone call, and we all had the same thing.
Maybe we could break down, or the two of you can break down the exact, in terms of the positives of taking, what does it actually mean to take the money that we pay for inventory in the US and put it into these other marketplaces? Why is that actually a positive thing?
I actually think that it's less about the money itself and more so about the actual mental bandwidth and capacity, because Chris and I will have a phone call maybe once or twice a day. It was just a quick phone call. Every time Chris calls, I know I have to answer straight away because there's a problem. And I'm sure you can attest, I always answer basically straight away because I'm like, this is if you call and it's on WhatsApp, I'm like, this is important.
I'd be like, look,
later. You're lucky you don't get that.
I only call it's a necessity, otherwise I send a message. And the call means it's urgent and I need a second discussion.
I'm like, I have to answer this. And it's always, an issue with something in USA. It's always like, this happened here. This is what's to go here. This customer, this. We have to fix this. What about this here? What about this ship? Like, there's always these issues because also with the amount of volume of product that we send into USA. Yeah. And it ends up being that we just talk about USA all the time. We're on this hamster wheel of trying to keep USA afloat. And whilst Australia and Canada are just sitting there, just churning profits. Like
don't have to do anything.
When people these days say passive income, I'm like,
Australia and Canada.
No, but here's my first thing.
Not passive.
When someone says passive income these days, I'm just like, that's bullshit for the most part. It's such.
You've never run a business.
Nothing's passive.
Nothing's passive like that. You just do it and then you just let it go and you can just look away and whatever. But the closest thing that I've ever seen that comes to that is literally Amazon Australia.
FBA Australia.
FBA, Amazon Australia is the closest thing to that because the competition's so low. And maybe for us, we're fortunate to have the perspective of having
USA.
The opposite of passive, which is USA, where it requires work and effort and fixing all the time. So then you compare it to Australia, we're like, oh, there's nothing to do. Everything's just good. Oh, look at all that profit. How good is that?
There's things we check like reviews, where the competitors, pricing, advertising, and like you can do those checks on Amazon Australia within like 30 minutes max. Where US and I can do that once a week, and I'm like, oh, we're still ranked number one.
Yeah.
Oh, we're still the best selling product.
I do the Monday morning analysis, and I'm just like, oh, there's nothing to discuss with Australia. Everything's sweet, positive, green, profit. Okay, what the fuck's going on in USA?
Yeah, I physically can't spend any more money on advertising in Amazon Australia because we're just maxing out and we're spending barely anything.
Because the competition's so low and we got in so early, we got so many reviews. Because we're Aussie, we can get so many Aussie reviews as well and all of this. And we just so solidified in domination for every single one of our products that it's like, it's so easy in comparison. And so we basically have come to the conclusion, imagine if we actually put all of that effort and bandwidth of USA, that's kind of feels like a ticking time bomb. Yeah. It really does with all the shit going on. And then, here's the explosion. But with Australia, imagine if we put all of that time, effort, resource into that, what we could actually do. Yeah. How quickly could we make that profit from USA in Australia if we just actually sat there and been like, well, this is all going great, but how do we make it better and what's next just here?
Yeah.
And it's crazy how quickly adding more products, things can multiply. So that you got to think of Amazon Australia as not this massive one product, you're going to get rich overnight sort of a marketplace, which you can do in the US, but it still involves a lot of money.
One product can make you 5, 10, 15K.
Yeah, you've got to look at it more like that.
In Troy's case, 50K.
Yeah, you're going to hit some home runs every now and then, but you got to see Amazon Australia is launching multiple products that do 5 to 10K a month, and that multiplies so fast. Yeah. And because of the low entry and the low budget you need to start, you can quickly build that brand where you can't do that in the US. It's physically, if you go in the US, you're going to go in hard because otherwise you're going to get eaten. So we've been speaking about this for years, and we love Amazon Australia. And we know that's the right place for us to be. And I think this tariff and stuff is just another sort of like kick in the ass to be like, guys, like focus your energy, move that 90% energy you're using in the US into the marketplaces which are making you 3 times more profit, and just build that empire.
Yeah. So if you're not familiar with our academy, that's what we teach specifically, how to launch a winning product on Amazon Australia. And the steps to launch in any marketplace are the same. It's more so that when you're validating and looking at your product, you're looking at different data points, and there's different launch budgets as well. But Amazon Australia is the place to be. It is definitely the place to start. And now we're, acknowledging more and more that once you are thriving in Australia, and if you do want to expand, then actually Amazon Canada is your next step.
Totally.
Don't even like Amazon US, like whatever.
And what are we doing different though? Like, because our program is focused on Australia, because that's where we're in. Like, we're underwater there. Underwater? That's the wrong word. We're in there in the trenches in Australia all the time. We've always launched
pretty
products
well
first.
above water.
We're above water.
Opposite, we're like,
We're always launching in Australia first, because we have that marketplace down pat.
The beautiful thing is, and this is where the real opportunity lies in Amazon Australia, is that it's the fastest growing marketplace in the world. Amazon Australia has now taken over eBay in yearly sales. It's taken over Maya in yearly sales. David Jones, it's literally taking over commerce. Like in Gold Coast, every single time I take the elevator down to the lobby, you just Amazon packages everywhere. I'm sure everyone has that now. Everyone shops on Amazon. It's like, we're the ones selling the products that everyone's buying on Amazon Australia. And I don't know why, but like no one knows about it. And I laugh about it all the time, and I'm like, we could just keep it to ourselves. I mean, we did 600K on Amazon Australia last year. The year before that, we did 500K.
Yeah.
Like we don't need to tell anyone or teach anyone this stuff. It's like, why do we do it? Well, because it's kind of like, firstly, I learned from someone who was selling in USA, and they did a program, and I literally did a program, and that's how I learned it. And then you get to a certain level when you're good at something, and like people ask you just want to kind of pass on that knowledge as well, and like educate people. Like I almost think it's like our duty to like give people this opportunity, because like no one's fucking doing it or talking about it, and it's so fucking easy compared to everything else.
And I personally like the sense of community, because it's for a long time it's just us three, but then when you've got like a student DM and be like, oh, I've just launched and this, you're like, fuck yeah, like you've got an extra person to talk about like Amazon and everything that we're creating that's like our everyday thing. Like it's super cool.
And it's funny because like we're back in Bali again, and like last time we were actually in Bali, we were redoing the second edition of our academy.
We did.
We actually started it. We finished the first edition in Bali, and then we were back to starting again, I think. So
no, that was 2 years ago.
2 years ago, we started.
No, that was last year.
Last year we finished the rendition.
It took like almost a year to do the 2.0 of the program. Yeah. We only finished that. We finished that whilst we were traveling.
Yeah.
Still.
And that's because we want to, like, obviously things are always changing, and we want our students to have the most up-to-date strategies for Australia. And that's what we use, and we teach what we use, and what we use works.
And we get messages. I mean, in the last live training, you guys took it. We had like 15 students then. We had like a array of like students that have found their product, launching their product, getting their supply contracts done, getting their listing images done. And then we had beginners. Like we've got such a thriving community of students from all the way from just like, I'm just starting out and I'm learning, this is exciting, all the way to I'm placing my order, all the way to like, hey, I'm launching, all the way to then Troy, who's our best student thus far, and he's on average doing 50K a month.
Yeah, and he's dropping new products soon. So
he's crushing it. And we've got other students doing 10K, etc.
Yeah, it's so exciting, and like to see the growth of Amazon is exciting, and now to see other people being rewarded for getting in early is exciting. Like we were there for a while, and I think in the last 2 years, Amazon has just grown exponentially as well.
It's
like
wild.
Even you said the packages. Like two and a half years ago, you wouldn't see that many Amazon packages. Now, like you rock up to a hotel or something, there's like boxes stacked up. You see them in front of people's houses. My mates that used to always like, question me about selling on Amazon. I rock around their house, there's 4 Amazon boxes in their front door.
Yeah, I know.
I was like, now who's laughing?
The tables are turned. Yeah, I know. That's the same as like even Keelan. He was like, what's with Amazon? Amazon, like I never shop on Amazon. Next minute, like after hanging out with me for a few months, he's buying all this new camera gear from Amazon. Like,
they do delivery like every day. On Sunday, they will come to your house and deliver it. Like you're not even.
That's the beautiful thing. It's so easy to use.
It's the best. It's the best. Well, I reckon we're almost out of time for this one.
Yeah, we're wrapping it up. But I would
started with tariffs.
Started with tariffs. Ended with you should start selling on Amazon Australia.
and also like a serious note, like fuck Amazon USA. Like anyone that teaches you still to this day, Amazon USA is an opportunity. No, go to Australia.
Unless you know what the fuck you're doing.
Even
but
then,
even then, like
even
we
then,
know what we're
the fuck
doing, and we're
it's-
like, see ya.
and
Like,
nah.
yeah. So on that note, if you're someone who's interested in online business, you're curious about what Amazon FBA is, or you know that you want to start an e-commerce brand and sell on Amazon Australia, we do have our academy. Look around. There will be a link around this video. Head there. All the information will be there, and you get to work directly with us. And we hope to see you there.
Cool.
Yeah.
Peace.
See you the next
See you
one.
in the next one.
Peace.
Bye.